Check, check. You hear me?
Yeah. Well, talk.
You hear me?
Yeah, I can hear you. I don't know if it's coming in my
Yeah, we're good.
earphones or not.
Yeah,
How are you doing?
I can do it.
Mine's here.
Yours is on your side.
It's all the way up.
That's your Now you're talk.
Hello?
I got you.
All right. What's up, y'all? I'm the voice of the Tigers, Puda. With me, as always, Coach Dre Trosclair.
Here we go.
Here we go. All right, let's jump into South Lafourche, which was 2 weeks ago because we didn't have a game last week.
Unfortunately, but obviously great showing in week one from our football team.
Absolutely. Get into some stats. Braden Becknell, 2 for 4, 14 yards and a touchdown.
Yeah, so I mean, obviously we didn't have to throw the ball last week or 2 weeks ago. Passing game was working, when it needed to in those two opportunities, and he was efficient. You know what I mean? He did what we asked him to do. Ran the offense very well. He's a leader for us. Everybody in the huddle really, gravitates to what he's doing in there, and he commands the offense really well. Drives us down the field. So, although the stats weren't, a brilliant passing game with a lot of different things, he did a great job just leading the offense and doing what we were supposed to do. And then when the opportunities were there, he took advantage of it.
Right, he did. Hey, like you said, it was a rushing game.
Yeah, I mean, whenever you got it working like that, you don't have to fix anything and make any adjustments, and so that's kind of what we did.
Before we get into the running backs, let's give a shout out to Cole and Jaro.
Absolutely, absolutely.
Really, sad for that kid.
Yeah.
Terrible knee injury.
Tough news, but he's a trooper. He's a captain. He's been at every practice since it happened. He hadn't missed a practice, hadn't missed a meeting, hadn't missed anything. So he's doing what a captain does in that situation. He stepped up to the plate, and I mean that's all you can ask from a kid, especially at this stage of his life as a high school senior, to be told that you can't play anymore for the rest of the season, but to still be there each and every day for his teammates, for his coaches, for his family, things like that. I mean, it's just you got to tip your hat to him for the kind of kid he is.
I talked to him today at practice. He's really, really good spirits, and he said he's going to be there for his team, which obviously he has been, and
right.
and good on him.
Yeah.
But
he'll have a headset tomorrow night on the sideline with his jersey, and he's going to be every bit a part of it as he was before.
Right, awesome. Another bit of bad news that I wanted to get in before we started and forgot. Saints beat the crap out of the Cowboys.
So Dom had a pretty good week last week, didn't he, on the ground? Yeah, they did. Yeah, who that, huh?
Yeah, Myers Griffin, 7 rushes, 107 yards, and a touchdown. Dom, 5 for 100 and 2 touchdowns. Cohen, he had 2 rushes, 58 yards before he got hurt.
Yep.
And 2 good runs.
There.
Makai Sylvester, 338, a TD. He also had a fumble. Bryson Woods, 3 for 37. Jonathan Bell, 2 for 37. Braden had 3 rushes for 10 yards and a touchdown. And Vondarius Brown, 2 rushes for 7 yards.
Yeah, so overall, big rushing night for our guys. 27 rush attempts, 394 yards, average 14.5 yards per carry. So, I mean, you're averaging a first down every time somebody runs the football. So it's obviously a big night from our guys. Omari's been doing a good job in this offense as the fullback. To average, a little bit over 17 yards a carry is what he did on 2 Fridays ago. Dom, very explosive, man. Dom's looked really, really good at the wingback position for us, averaging 20 yards a carry last week with 2 touchdowns. And then you'll see tomorrow that he's going to come out. He'll get an award for State Farm Player of the Week tomorrow morning. They're coming to school to kind of honor him for his performance against South Lafourche, so that's a pretty big deal. And then even the young guys that got in, man. Makai came in, scored a touchdown with the second group. Obviously, the starters didn't play in the second half, but it was a good experience. The JV game got canceled that week, so we were able to get our young guys a lot of playing time in the second half of that game. Braden came to the sideline begging for a midline close to the goal line, so we were able to give him one. That way he can get into the end zone with a rush. Those guys did a good job. Bryson Woods comes back off an injury his first game, able to get him 3 touches, averaging over 10 yards a carry. So I think it was good to kind of reacclimate him to the offense and get him back in there. So, obviously very, very pleased with the way we ran the football. And none of that happens, obviously, without the guys up front. So, those front 5 did a really, really good job opening up lanes. We finally went to kind of an unbalanced look, against South Lafourche, doing tackle over and things like that. And I thought that was a creative thing that D-Will did. And I thought it worked really well, kind of something that they hadn't prepared for because they hadn't seen it. So that was pretty good. Dive worked really well against that. So, but those guys up front, man, they played a really clean game, not too many penalties at all. So I was really, really pleased offensively with the effort, with what we put forth in our week 1 opponent.
Who will take the majority of the snaps in place of Cole?
So it'll be Bryson Woods is going to be right there, and then the approach after that is you got Von Darius, you got Makai, you got Jonathan Bell, Kyron can come in and do it. So it's going to kind of be a by committee approach. Because obviously Cohen was our Swiss Army knife back there. He was able to play the wing back. He's able to come back to F. Something would happen to Brady, he'd be able to go there at quarterback a little bit. So he was a guy that did a ton of things for us. So we'll kind of take a committee approach with it and let a bunch of guys fill that role. But the main guy that's going to be right there is going to be Bryson Woods.
I mean, that's a lot of running backs you got on there.
No, definitely.
That can come in and step
our
up.
Our backfield's definitely talented. It's a deep position for us. So, I mean, that's something that we still feel really good about. But just need to get those guys as many reps in the JV games as we can. That way they feel confident on Friday night doing what we ask them to do. Because it gets a little bit more complex on Friday than what it does on Wednesday.
Receiving, like we already talked about, wasn't much receiving. So Amari Griffith had a catch for 7 yards and a touchdown, and Kyron had a catch for 7 yards.
Yeah, I mean, Griffith did a good job getting on the flat on the waggle. Braden did a good job finding him. He made a good catch on it, too. Went up and got it. So that was pretty athletic by Amari getting his feet in. So, obviously we only had 2 attempts or two receptions, but did a good job with both of those.
Overall stats for the offense: 27 rush attempts, 394 yards, 14.6 yards per carry, as you said. 4 pass attempts, 14 yards, 7 yards per completion. 31 total plays, 408 total yards, 13.2 yards per play. We only had 1 penalty for 15 yards, which I know who it was, and I think.
Yeah.
And 0 sacks given up and only 1 turnover. So that's a big change from the scrimmage.
Yeah,
or
definitely. Jamboree.
Or the Jamboree.
Yeah, cleaned up a lot. So offensive performance A+. Those guys did a great job.
All right, defensive stats. We have Jeremiah Jones, 2 total tackles. Kamari Carter, who was our defensive player of the week, 5 tackles, 4 solo, 1 assist. He had an interception and he forced a fumble.
Yeah, he had a great night.
He did, and I told him.
And he's only a sophomore.
I told him this afternoon. I was videoing, and you could hear my voice when he made that interception. I yelled. I was like, "Yeah, big man."
Yeah. He did a good job too, man.
Yeah.
Retracing his steps once he realized it was a stream, gets back in his track, and he did a good job making a play on the ball. Now the guys in the film room made fun of him for the run out the catch.
He did say that.
Because the run out the catch was slow as molasses, man. But he did a good job.
He did say that.
It was a great play by him, though.
Charles Howard had a tackle.
Which Chuck still played a good game, man.
Yeah,
he
yeah.
only
It's not
got
always
the
about
stat sheet
tackles.
with one, but he did a great job, man, squeezing down blocks, getting in his gap. If they bounced it out of his gap, that's not his fault. But Chuck played a really good game. He hadn't got a ton of stuff done, stat-wise this year so far for us, but he's a big part of anchoring that defensive line.
Oh,
He did a good
absolutely.
job.
All right, here we go. Dyson Vaskalauskas.
I think you added a K in there.
You think?
Yeah.
I'm gonna get it before homecoming. Because during the games, I can say Dyson V. I
Yeah,
can't
yeah.
say Dyson V when he's walking out at homecoming.
Right. Good luck.
5 total tackles, 3 solo, 2 assists. Spencer Conrad, 5 total tackles, 5 solo. He had an interception return for a touchdown.
Yeah, man. It was either between him and Kamara for our defensive player of the week,
Right.
and it was a tough call. But yeah, Spencer does a great job back there for us at corner. He kind of has a Swiss Army knife defensively too, because he can go to safety, he can play the outside linebacker position whenever we go to our 4-man front and switch things up that way. So yeah, man, he had a great game, and he had a great break on that ball where he caught that and went and returned it for a touchdown. So obviously, a great game by Spencer.
All right, Lawrence Bangura had a PBU. Tyler England, 8 total tackles, 6 solo, 2 assists.
Yeah, Tyler led the team in tackles last week. Tyler obviously led the team in tackles last year, and as a returning player for us. So Tyler's somebody that we expect to have a big year. He did a good job being a team player, because obviously he's a DB coming into the year. He's a safety, free safety, strong safety, weak safety. You can kind of mix it up and do all those things. He's great in coverage. But just personnel-wise, what we needed him to do, we asked him to bump inside the linebacker, and no questions asked. He jumps inside. He does a great job, obviously, through the first 3 weeks. And, team captain. He's another guy who the kids look up to.
Right.
He does everything right. He's always there in the right place, doing the right thing. So he's a guy that we're going to lean on heavily defensively this year.
Ahmad Randolph, 1 tackle, 2 PBUs.
Yep.
Andre Jones, 6 total tackles, 5 solo, 1 assist.
Andre had a great game too. He's another guy in the middle he's going to have a great year for us. So I thought he did a good job, especially on the blitzes, getting in his gap, not overrunning his gap, creating vertical run seams and things like that. So I thought he did a really good job 2 weeks ago.
Amarian Southall, 3 total tackles, all solo.
Yep.
Roland Binding,
Yep.
1 tackle, 1 solo.
And he's the guy opposite of Chuck. So obviously
Right.
that week, both of those guys, defensive ends, didn't get a ton of opportunities, but they were forcing everything into the teeth of the
Yes.
defense. So that's why you see the stats have elevated for the Kamaris and the Tylers and the Andres and things like that. So obviously week to week those things are going to change, but both of those guys did a good job doing their assignment, playing assignment football.
Robert Tolbert, 3 solo. Braden Boyd, 5 solo. Connor Jarrow, 5 tackles, 4 solo, 1 assist, 1 tackle for a loss.
Yeah, man, the backup linebackers that came in the second half did a great job.
Yeah.
Braden, Landon Pertwee, Connor Jarrow, those 3 guys did a phenomenal job coming in and really doing a good job of replacing the guys that are in front of them, and not much of a difference at all.
Right.
So that's it's encouraging to see the kind of depth that we have at the position. I think linebackers probably our most talented position defensively on the team, where we're the deepest at. So it was really good to see those guys get a chance to get in there, get some game speed reps against another varsity opponent, and then last night they looked good as well.
Landon Pertwee, 3 solo tackles and 1 TFL. Tristan Cable, 2 tackles, both solo. Colston Wheaton, 1 tackle solo. Austin Owens, 1 tackle solo. Jake Onkai, 1 tackle solo and 1 behind the line. Owen Landry, 1 tackle, 1 TFL and a sack. Tevin Martinez, 2 solo tackles and a TFL. Kyron Matthews had a tackle solo, and Camden Barrett had a tackle solo and a TFL.
Yeah, so the last couple of guys you said, obviously those are some guys that don't get a ton of playing time with the first group, but did a great job, I thought, coming in the second half. Those guys played the entire second half and didn't give up a point, obviously, because the touchdown hit the ground. So says
It
6
did.
right there, but it wasn't a
It
touchdown. But
absolutely
anyway,
hit the
it is what
ground.
it is. But those guys, I was really proud of those guys because the varsity, and I was proud of our ones too, because of how much they stood on the sidelines and encouraged those guys to
Yeah.
keep that 0 on the scoreboard because they know how hard the guys work for us. So they did a great job of going in there, not being an easy out. Yeah, we gave up some penalty yardage for them to drive down there, but they had a bend but don't break mentality. They did a good job on the goal line, but obviously, referees do things sometimes that don't make sense. And
Right.
it was what it was. But hey, I'll take 49-6. It is what it is. But the defensive performance was really good in week 1, so you can't complain too much about that.
So total stats for the defense, they gave up 214 yards, 6 points, but we
That's
calling
right.
it 0.
Yeah.
129 passing and 26 rush attempts for 85 yards.
Yeah, like I said, really pleased with the way those guys played defensively, and I think you're going to continue to see that. Obviously, our first group through the scrimmage jamboree in week 1 hasn't given up a point yet. So they've been playing lights out defense. They're doing a good job getting to the passer, getting in the backfield, causing disruptions, and we're doing a good job getting takeaways too. Whether it be forced fumbles or interceptions, things like that, they're breaking up the ball at the point of attack. DBs are doing a good job closing out on things coming out of their breaks. Defensive lines, wreaking havoc, causing pressure in the backfield. So really like the way that we played so far.
All right, special team. Zach Hutchinson, 7 for 7 for PATs.
Yeah, great kicker, man. Somebody needs to offer him.
Oh, absolutely. And
He's one of the best kickers in the area, one of the best kickers in the state by far.
yeah, no field goal attempt, so
That means we scored touchdowns, so
it
that's a
was
good thing.
100% field goal.
Ain't no doubt.
8 total kickoffs, 4 touchbacks. He also had a punt for 40 yards. 0 returns on the punts. Kickoff returns, Jonathan Bell had 1 return for 17 yards.
Yeah, so not a huge special teams game last week, but Hutch did a good job, obviously, in the PAT stuff, and then Jonathan Bell was our special teams player of the week. Bell did a good job all game long on kickoff, making sure he was staying in his lane. He had a touchdown saving tackle on one of those kickoffs where it wasn't in his lane, but he had a great effort play getting back into the flow of things. And he made a couple other tackles on that unit. So we thought, just from his effort and what he was putting forth to be out there on that unit and making plays, he's an offensive guy, but, that doesn't matter. He was just out there trying to help his team out. So we obviously gave him the nod on Player of the Week last week because he did a great job.
Awesome. What grade he's in?
Bell's a junior.
He's a junior.
Yep.
All right. Tomorrow night, Assumption.
Yep.
What do we have
Big
to
game
do?
tomorrow night.
Yeah. What do we have to do to go down there and get the victory?
So obviously,
Up there.
wherever we're going,
Yeah.
we're gonna get a victory. So
Over there.
we just got to take care of the ball offensively, man. I think that's going to be a big deal. Make sure we stay in front of the chains, moving the ball on first down. First down is going to be huge for us to be able to create momentum for our offense and stay, in attack mode the entire night. I think, obviously we'll have some things that are, different than what you've seen the first couple of weeks. We've added a little bit to the offense. So you'll see us check at the line a little bit and do things like that we haven't done already, which I'm excited to see. I'm excited to see our guys go out there and execute. We obviously put a little bit more on Braden's plate to be able to put us in good positions and make checks and make calls at the line of scrimmage. And he's a junior now, so he's able to do that. So, the further he gets in our offense and the more equipped he gets with the things that he's doing, he'll be able to do a lot better job and put us in good positions based off of what they're in. So excited to see him go out there and do that offensively. And then obviously the offensive line is going to be a big part tomorrow night because they have a big defensive line. They got a big defensive front. So we got to do a good job of making sure we control the line of scrimmage with our guys, which I think we're going to do, and then get our playmakers the ball. We got a ton of guys that can make stuff happen when they got the ball in their hands and when they have space. So really excited to see our guys create big plays, big explosive chunk plays for touchdowns. Defensively, you're looking at a team that does a lot of different things. So they got a Wildcat package that's pretty good. They get in 2x2. They run a trips look. They run a 2-back set. They run ace under center. They run a heavy front, a heavy look. They got a bunch of different formations that they do to try to get you misaligned and things like that. So we've worked all week making sure we're in the gaps that we're supposed to be in. We're where we need to be. That way we can play sound defensive football, gap sound stuff, make sure we're in the right places to make plays. We got some different blitzes and things, schemed up this week that we're going to, implement for the first time. You'll see us in a lot of different coverages. We'll try to disguise coverages and confuse the quarterback and do things of that nature. So I think that's going to be a big thing. But I think our first down stuff, just with the tendencies that they show, first down is going to be big for us tomorrow night defensively. So making sure that they're in 2nd and 8, 2nd and 9, 2nd and 10s all night is going to be a big deal. And then in special teams, we've got to make sure we flip the field position when the opportunity's there. We've got to field all kicks in the punt return game, make sure on kickoff return we set our offense up with positive yardage and things like that. And the PAT stuff been great. Protection's been great. The executing those and making sure they're good has been great. So all 3 phases of the game, just looking to play a clean game tomorrow night. Obviously, the weather looks like it's going to be great. So I'm excited to see our guys play. Obviously, we didn't get to play last week. Tried everything in my power to get that game done. Just couldn't come to an agreement on how to get it done, when, where. So it is what it is. We lose a game, but I know our guys are chomping at the bit to get back out there and play. It feels like we hadn't played in months, even though it's only been 14 days or 13 days, whatever it may be. But excited to see our guys play, man. Those guys are ready to play. They had a great day of practice yesterday. They had a great walkthrough today, and I know they're ready. So we'll see, what we can do tomorrow night against an Assumption team that went to the semifinals last year. So it was a good 4A opponent. That's why we put them on the schedule, and I'm excited. I'm really excited to see our guys play.
Yeah, they seem pretty hyped in practice today.
No doubt. Yeah, they have a definite feel to them that they're ready to go out and play this game tomorrow night.
Who are some of the players offensively and defensively for Assumption that y'all are keying on and have been watching in film and stuff?
Yeah. So defensively for those guys, you got big D tackle. They got a big Mike linebacker, and then they got a couple DBs that can go. They got a couple guys, safety in a corner that are pretty solid players. Offensively, they got a couple guys at receiver that are pretty good on the outsides. They have a quarterback that he's kind of elusive in the run game. He's kind of sneakily elusive whenever he goes. Yeah, I might have made that up, but he's pretty good when he gets in space and he creates things in the pocket when he goes out and scrambles. Obviously, their starting running back, they lost their starting running back, so they got a backup playing. But we've seen film on him. He's a pretty good player, shifty player. And then in the kicking game, I don't think their kicking game's, above average by any means. Definitely not below average, but it's kind of high school average for kicking game. So, those are kind of some of the guys highlighted that we've been focusing on all week, making sure that we do a good job of containing defensively, and then guys that we've pinpointed weak areas, and positive areas for their offense or defense as well. So definitely the guys are prepared. It's been a great week of practice. I thought Monday was a little slow. We got some lightning, so we had to go inside. Tuesday wasn't the best day in the world. Wednesday was really good. Thursday was really good. So I think the trend is going upwards for us to have a really good night tomorrow night.
Yeah, that's always a good thing. Better than going down.
Ain't no doubt.
Anything else you want to talk about?
Let's a little bit about the JV game
sure.
last night, man.
That.
Yeah, so I thought those guys played really well, obviously.
How about that?
JV played well, man. All 2 phases. We didn't do special teams last night. But defensively, those guys had a big night, had a shutout. A lot of players making plays all over the field, bunch of tackles for loss in the backfield. They really did a good job of containing Assumption's offense the entire night. And, offensively, we had a bunch of guys that were able to get the ball and do a bunch of different things. A freshman went in there, Samayan Adams, he did a good job. He had a touchdown last night. Von Darius obviously was a good player last night for us. Damian Robinson threw a touchdown to Anzio Holmes. So that was nice. Kamari Carto scored 1. We actually was able to get Connor Gyro a couple of carries late in the game, awesome. Which was pretty cool. So, we had a bunch of guys that played really well. And then the JV offensive line did a good job last night, man. They created big holes for our guys. So I was excited with the way they played, especially they hadn't played in a while.
Right.
They hadn't played since the JV
Yeah.
Jamboree, so because the game against South Lafourche was canceled,
Like
so hadn't played in a while. But they didn't look rusty at all. They looked ready to go. They did a good job. So I was really pleased with the way those guys played, man. I was excited about seeing them play, and hopefully all those games for the rest of the way can get played because that's a huge thing for our
Right.
program, being able to develop those guys, get them better players, coach them up, make sure they correct their mistakes and things like that. So I was very, very happy with the way JV played. And another thing too, I was excited about our older guys on the sideline, helping them out, being there, encouraging them. That's just it's a culture of our program that we're trying to implement to get the guys pulling in the same direction, all being on the same page, and really caring about each other and making sure that it matters to them. So you saw the varsity guys super excited when somebody would score or make a big play, things like that, and you can see the same thing tomorrow night when those roles are reversed. So I think it says a lot about our kids and the kind of kids that we have on our football team.
Yeah, and it has a lot to do with coaching too.
Hey, if you say so, I'll take it.
I know so. I know so. I'm not saying that because you sitting on the side of me. I mean, it's all the coaches.
No
like
doubt.
it's
You got a great staff.
if you coach them up like that, where they want to play for you, that's always good.
Yeah, our coaching staff does a great job, man. They really do. They work their tails off too.
All right. Anybody have any questions for Coach Dre? You can come up to the mic or you can shout it out.
Come on, Shane.
It's gonna be
Said
hard
you
to
had
hear.
one, buddy.
Anybody?
It would be a Cowboys question.
We're not taking those, man. I already had a Cowboys comment.
I'll take them.
Of course you will.
All right. Anything else?
Nah, man. I'm excited. 7:00 tomorrow night at Assumption.
An assumption.
No bag policy, so
No
make
bag
sure
policy.
that you don't bring bags with you. No
I
bag policy.
will leave my purse at home.
Do your thing, Pooh.
All
Do
right.
your thing, buddy.
You ready?
Yeah, hell yeah, we will.
All right. Go Tigers.
Go Tiger, man.
Who hit record?
We didn't put the mics on, Pooh. We didn't need them,
I did hit record, but we didn't put the mics on.
I just told you that.
Hopefully that should pick it up.
Sound from that. I don't know how.